why circumcise babies? It seems like an odd thing to prescribe. The baby has no say in this matter. Why do it to them? It would seem if adults were choosing to become circumcised, that would make sense. Adults choose to serve God or not, so why not let them choose to circumcise themselves? And why say that it needed to be done on the 8th day? Well, on a biblical level, the 8th day is significant. You see, 8 is a very important number biblically. From a Hebrew understanding of numerology, 8 is an infinite number. Now, I don't think that's just because it makes an infinity sign when you lay it down sideways, although kind of interesting, but rather the rabbis say that this number represents something that is outside of time, outside of the ordinary pattern of things. You see, the ordinary pattern of creation is 1 through 7. God created the world in 6 days and rested on the 7th. We number the days 1 through 7, and after 7, we're right back to 1. We never get to the 8th day, which leads the rabbis to say that 8 must be some kind of infinite number outside of the natural order of things. I find that really interesting here dealing with the circumcision, as the rabbis go on to say that circumcision is a supra-rational commandment. Supra-rational commandments are commandments that are above rational explanation. These are commandments that, for all intents and purposes, don't make any earthly sense. You see, most of the commandments are rational. Do not commit adultery. That violates your covenant relationship with your wife. Do not commit murder because, that's bad. Do not steal because, those things aren't yours. But then there are other commandments that sort of seem like, why in the world would I do that? Circumcising your son on the 8th day is one of those commandments. Very interesting that circumcision is an outward sign of the faith I have in God. Because you see, if I say that I have faith in God, that means I have to trust God. And when God commands me to do something, if I trust him, I'll obey, whether I understand or not. So I find it interesting that the outward sign of my faith-based covenant is something that doesn't make a lot of sense to me. As it turns out, this isn't really about the baby at all. This is about the Father. Am I willing to trust my future generations into the hands of God? Do I really believe what he says? Or do I just obey when it makes sense to me?